And welcome, folks, to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And, folks, we got a great show. We got a great conversation today. We're going to talk about the riots in L.A. and across the country with the sanctuary cities. So if you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know. You're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio. I'm your host, Pastor David. Y'all come on in. And welcome to the show, folks. Let the truth be told. Folks, let's get right into the meat of heart of things. First, let me give all praises to God and my Lord and Savior, Yahshua, who made it possible for me to be here. I want to welcome everybody to the show. Well, it looks like the Democrats are doing it again. They're trying to create a facade as if this is totally ridiculous. How is it that you are an illegal and you are protesting in a country that you came illegal to? Let's just get to the facts, okay? It's totally asinine. And to the American people and patriots across this country, this is what we can expect from the Democratic Party. They don't have a George Floyd, but they're creating one to try to get the American people all riled up to think that it is okay for illegals to come to this country, to get Social Security, to get Medicaid, to get food, to get houses and cars and vouchers, and yet give nothing to the American citizens who are sleeping on the viaduct, sleeping in tents, have no places to go. They don't get warming stations, but the Democratic Party, under the leadership of Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, made sure that this American republic is brought to its knees by allowing these illegals to overrun our country. Now, let's get to the conversation at hand. And before I do that, let me get my co-host in. What's up, Dre?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good, man. The vacation done ended. It's time to take the gloves off, bro.
Exactly. It's like every time I take a chance to like kind of step off away from the media, it's like they're pulling me back in. I just got back from a marriage retreat with my lovely wife, and I'm the whole time I'm there, I'm chomping at the bit because all these things are going on.
Well, you know, this is similar, and let me say it like this. In 2020, when the election was stolen, they used George Floyd, who was a dope addict, who killed himself by overdosing on the fentanyl, and yet they're trying to make him a martyr like Dr. King and Malcolm X. That's the only thing the Democratic Party has ever done, especially when it comes to Black people. We had an opportunity to watch Black Lives Matter in 2020 destroy cities across the United States. Not one thing was said, not one person was jailed, and the sad thing of it was Black Lives Matter took in trillions of dollars and never did nothing for the Black community. Their whole mission was to do whatever they wanted to do for the queers, the transgenders, and all the other abomination lifestyles that they put forth during the Biden administration. And so here we are in 2025, after President Trump is trying to get our country back on track. He's instituted a lot of executive orders to reverse all the things that they did. And this is what they're doing now, trying to get the American people and patriots across this country to think President Trump is wrong by bringing in the National Guard to deal with what's going on in LA, because the governor Newsom himself, he want to do what he did the last time when LA was on fire. He watched it burn. He never called the National Guard. So President Trump is right on point. And I feel, Dre, that because Gavin Newsom have filed a lawsuit against the president and his administration for sending in the National Guard, I think that this impedes the American people and patriots across this country to seek justice by making sure illegal people here come to this country the right way. I just think that he should arrest Gavin Newsom and all the other sanctuary city governors and mayors who continue to allow illegals to run amongst in our country, as well as give them money to do so. What are your thoughts, Dre?
My thoughts is this. Your own Cook County president, Toni Preckwinkle, she even said it's not about immigration policy. It's about Donald Trump and his mean-spirited ways of rounding up and hunting people. That's not what it's about. Like, I think former President Obama got it correct. He told people, if you want to question my ability to fix our immigration policy, then pass a bill. Don't question me if we don't have a legislation on the table. Don't cry about how the sausages are being made, when for years people have been eating the sausages up and not thinking about the consequences. You know, there are consequences when we decide that we're not going to follow the rule of law, and it's coming home to roost. And you know, here's another thing that she said. I
got a clip for you. I got a clip for you about what Obama and them said about immigration when they got ready to take office, when they lied to the American people and said, hey, you know what? Let me play it, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
The budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes.
Senator Biden, yes or no, would you allow the cities to ignore the federal law?
No.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked.
Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous.
Dre, now listen, that was 3 Democratic presidential candidates, some of the president. When they ran for office, they talked about illegal immigration, and you guys just heard it for yourself. Why aren't they speaking out against the illegals who are here now, that's in the sanctuary cities, and continue to bring crime, mayhem, drugs, drug trafficking, gangs? All of that have been brought to the United States under the Biden and Harris border czar plan, and yet not one of these presidents who told the American people that we are going to deport illegals out of our country, they have not said a word. Your thoughts on that, Tate?
Yes, and it's because they're speaking out on both sides of their mouth. Because on one side, they're saying, oh, yeah, we believe in the rule of law, but at the same time, they're harboring illegal aliens. Like, we have a speed limit for a reason. When the speed limit is 35, that means you're in a residential neighborhood. That means that people can get hit if you're going too fast, right? And if they get hit at 50 miles an hour, it's more likely they're going to die than if they get hit at 35 miles an hour. So there are consequences when we don't follow the law, or we only follow the laws that we like. Now, a lot of people don't like to see people that have been here 10, 30 years be deported, but there are consequences to our economy, such as a decrease in job salaries, as more competition for these jobs that we have seen in the past have been isolated from Black Americans who have been perennially in the failed Black third.
Well, that is so correct, Dre, because when you bring illegals into the country like they've allowed them to come into our city here in Chicago, it shortens the job pool for American citizens. See, when they brought the illegals here, the companies who helped bring them here was allowed to hire them, hire them for lower wages, no benefits. All they did was gave them a job to work and come to work every day and give them no benefits. It was the government responsibility to do what they're doing, and we see it. To the American people and patriots across this country, every American should be up in arms about what's happening in LA, what's happening in Chicago, because these people are illegal. It doesn't matter if you came to the country illegal and you've been here 20 years, if ICE pick you up, that's your fault, because you should have taken the proper steps to become a legal citizen in the United States. That's just the bottom line. So what are we supposed to do now to the American people and patriots? Every American right now should be calling. They should be supporting President Trump, because what are we going to do now? Are we just going to allow all the illegals to overrun our country, take our jobs, commit crimes, kill American citizens, get housing vouchers? Dre, I feel that it's time for President Trump to arrest the Governor Newsom of California. He needs to arrest the mayor. He needs to arrest Brandon Johnson here, J.B. Pritzker. I saw the Boston mayor, Wu. They're all coming against the federal government to harbor illegal aliens in their states, and that is impeding the federal government and stopping ICE from doing their job and making sure that the American citizens are first, not illegals. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm with our borders are. If they step over that red line where they're impeding the operations of ICE, then if that's what they decide to do, that will be done. But as far as just going in there and getting them now, that's a whole legal process that not a lot of people understand. I'm not saying that it's impossible to do, but if we're gonna do it, let's be right. Let it be just. Let's have the facts and everything on our side if we're going to go that far. But right now, I don't think we're going to have to go that far, because I don't think they're going to cross that line.
Well, they're trying to. Hold on, there's Doc. Hey, hey, Doc. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late.
No problem. Doc, we're talking about this thing in LA, and we want to get your perspective on it as well. Gavin Newsom has aided and abetted criminals in the state. And this riot thing that they're doing is trying to be similar to what happened in 2020 when George Floyd, the junkie, died on fentanyl, and they blamed the police officer for it. It's ridiculous. Your thoughts on it, Doc?
Well, hi, first of all, again, everybody, sorry I'm late. Well, I grew up in Southern California, predominantly about 45 minutes south in Orange County. And then as an adult, I lived in Los Angeles, the greater Los Angeles area. I also lived in North Hollywood and Burbank and even in the Hollywood area. And it's truly devastating and sad to see how this has happened, but the Democratic Party has allowed it to happen. They are also coordinating other events on June 14th through a website called nokings.org and also indivisible.org. And these are coordinated efforts, in my opinion, to actually take down our government, because that's the ultimate goal. And that's been set by the United Nations, the WEF, the IMF, Charles Schwab. If people don't remember that video, that ominous video that was made in 2020, where he says you will own nothing and like it. So this has been a very systematic effort to take down our government. Because see, here's the thing. Once you at the federal level lose control of your government, you're done. You are literally done. This is why President Trump is sending in the troops that he has. Now, see, here's what Gavin Newsom is doing. He's trying to play dumb. right? Like, what do you mean I don't have any control of my state, sir? If the National Guard was not there, and I watched videos live in real time, if they were not there in Los Angeles to assist the ICE vans transporting people that needed to be detained in and out, they would have not been able to do their jobs. People were literally blocking the street for them to do their jobs.
Now check this out. Now this has got to be so brazen. You are here illegally. You came here through an open border.
Yep.
You've been given what they say in the hood, scounts amounts of money to invade the United States. You've disrespected our rules and regulations. They were placed in the black community to replace black people. And this message is for black people. Black people, if you continue to vote for your own demise with the Democratic Party, it was the Democratic Party that started the Ku Klux Klan. They destroyed Black Wall Street. They destroyed Rosewood, and they've continued to destroy the black community. You know, the show that we did with Larry Hoover, and they talked about him getting a march together. Well, Larry got a march together because he didn't want Planned Parenthood in the black community creating genocide with abortions. And so this has been a continuation and an assault on the black community. And I think right now, black people, we should be sick and tired of what we're seeing always being put last. In this country, we've made so many great contributions, inventions, lifestyles. Everybody want to be black, but don't nobody want to be black.
Right.
And so we have to now really take a look at us as a race and as a community, because if we stand back, if the black community stand back and don't address and support President Trump on what's happening right now in the black community and the brown community for those who have come into the country legally, then it's going to be total chaos. I'm going to play this clip so that we can talk about it.
Okay.
Sending hundreds of Marines to Los Angeles amid protests against these immigration raids. And the president says he is open to the idea of arresting California Governor Gavin Newsom. ABC's Perry Russum is in Washington.
This morning, President Trump sending 700 Marines to Los Angeles amid the protests against immigration and customs enforcement. The Marines will support the nearly 1,700 National Guard troops already on the ground, some seen here protecting a courthouse.
The introduction of federal military personnel without direct coordination creates logistical challenges and risks confusion during critical incidents.
LA's police chief says most of the protests in the city have been peaceful. He says those who engage in violence or vandalism will be arrested.
Hold up right there.
Really? There were 7 cars burned. I watched this stuff in real time, guys.
Yep.
But take a look at, they got the Venezuela flag flying. They got the music playing. They have no respect for this country at all.
No.
Right.
And what they didn't show was they didn't show defacing of the buildings.
Right. And
Go
so,
ahead, Andre.
Go ahead, Drake. Yep.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. When we're seeing this, eventually California is going to get this under control, or the president's going to get it under control, and things are going to go back to somewhat normal. But there's another problem, because part of the reasons why these protests exploded is because of what Mayor Bass said is a rapid response system to harass ICE by regular citizens. Now, the LAPD, the Sheriff's Department, they're not helping ICE when they're trying to shuffle people out that they have an arrest warrant for. So, like, they're getting attacked on a regular basis with their regular operation. So this has to be addressed even after they quell this uprising.
Yeah, I was, like I said, I was grateful that President Trump did send the National Guard, because there's actually a video where ICE agents, and I'm not sure what type of agents they were, but they had to actually shoot people with rubber bullets to get them away from the gate so they could do their job. I'm like, he has to protect them. They are federal employees.
Absolutely.
Well, my thought is this. You know what? I have no remorse for illegals here who are marching in American streets, who are here illegal, who have no right to be here in the first place. How dare you come to our country? You can't even speak English, and you are protesting. You're illegal. The key word is illegal. You're here in our country protesting out in the open, and so guess what? ICE is there arresting you, and that's the reason why that they're fighting like hell, is because the Democrats are behind this whole scheme.
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Pastor Laurie, do you have any footage about the Mexican president?
I know what you're talking about. When he got arrested?
No, I'm talking about the Mexican president. She has been sending aid to people that are resisting. So the people that have been arrested, they're sending them aid. And they got really upset today because the United States put in the big beautiful bill, there's a provision for a 3.5% tax on remittances. So when they're sending money back home,
Okay.
the Mexican president got really upset and just like, we're going to push back. We're going to fight back against this. So like one of the congressmen was like, okay, well then we'll quadruple it to 15%.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I
Do
love
that.
it.
Look,
so now they put
50%.
a bill in there to
50%.
increase it.
50% is better. That's
Yeah.
a deterrent. 50% is the deterrent.
What a real deterrent is, you know what? Just like Russia scooped up Ukraine, then we should do Mexico the same way, because Mexico continue to come against our borders. They continue to break our laws. They continue to send people over here to destroy this country, and yet we do business with them. We should do no business with them. The border should be shut down. Everything that they have should be tariffed, and anybody that comes over here that doesn't come the right way should be thrown in jail and deported.
I don't
Now,
know
can we
if we
do
want those
sanctions?
problems.
Can we do sanctions on Mexico? Like I'm up for sanctions. I'm good. We do
Great.
sanctions
I don't
with
know if we
Russia.
want those problems because they have a cartel issue. They have like resource issues. We might not want to acquire them, but I think the way that Trump's going now with the tariffs to kind of bring them in line with how we want to have a relationship is better. I don't think we should be in the business of acquiring countries.
Well, you know what? That's what they have done. That's what the Mexicans have done. That's what the Venezuelans have done. They've acquired the United States through the help of the Democratic Party. And that's why I keep telling the American people and patriots across this country, especially Black Americans, we should be holding the Democratic Party for treason. The Democratic leadership should be tried for treason, for aiding and abetting illegals to come to this country. That's a treasonous act, and they should be tried, and if they found guilty, should be put before the firing squad.
Yeah, there was a video I saw earlier. I guess I caught the tail end of it. I'm gonna have to watch it again for the Congressional Black Caucus. And they were actually supporting the illegals.
Right, because they're a globalist organization.
It's
They're
the
focusing
Congressional
on the
Black
Black
Caucus.
diaspora.
What?
That's what they're focusing on. They're not focusing on Black Americans. So there is a Freedmen Caucus, I learned yesterday, and Black Americans need to support them. But I think a larger question should be towards Americans and Congress. What do you want? Because when we were under the Biden administration, we had a total different direction. Now, since January to May, we have 1 million new jobs that have opened up to Americans. We have not deported people en masse to the numbers that even Donald Trump would like, but the enforcement, the pressure has opened up 1 million jobs toward Americans. It was totally the opposite in the Biden administration and for previous administrations, that most of the job creation was going to immigrants, and some of them, of course, we know are illegal.
Wow.
And the real fact is this. My most concern is the Black community. See, Black people, we have nothing, and everybody come to this country and get rich off of us. It's who can control the Black dollar. That's what it boils down to. Because the Chinese did it. They got rich off Black people. The Jews got rich off Black people. The Arabs got rich off Black people and continue to take their businesses. And the dollar in the black community only stays there for less than a minute. 1 minute, because once it leaves your hand, it's not coming back to the black community. It's going to Syria, it's going to wherever, Mexico, it's going to Venezuela. Nothing and no concerns have been put forth in the black community to rebuild our community. And yet here we got black people, we got organizations like the NAACP, you got the Black Caucus, who don't fight for black people, who do nothing for black people, but yet they say they represent the masses of black people. And that's a lie, guys. Let's get a little bit more of this video.
Mayor Karen Bass says the federal government's response is contributing to the chaos.
It makes me feel like our city is actually a test case for what happens when the federal government moves in and takes the authority away from the state or away from local government.
It comes as peaceful demonstrations against ICE are spreading to other major cities nationwide, including Atlanta, Chicago, and New York.
We are not criminals.
California Governor Gavin Newsom now in a war of words with President Trump after Trump expressed support of arresting Newsom. ABC's Karen Travers with the president.
What crime has he committed that would warrant his arrest? What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed?
Yeah, to warrant his arrest, as you had
I think his
earlier.
primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job.
Newsom challenging Trump on a podcast.
I told the president, just get it over with. Arrest me. Move on.
California has sued the Trump administration. They are trying to stop the deployment of National Guard troops and Marines. The mayor says they are only protecting 2 federal buildings downtown.
They're protecting more than 2 federal buildings. They are protecting a 15-mile perimeter, and they're still failing. You know why? Because there are people that are, when I say they are unapologetic about destroying this country and destroying Los Angeles. There's all this America with the 3 Ks in it all around. They completely defaced City Hall, completely defaced the ICE detention center. These people are unhinged. They're burning cars. They're throwing Molotov cocktails. They're throwing fireworks at the police. They're spitting in their faces. Yes, I've watched the videos live ad nauseum to the point where my husband was like, please turn it off. You know what I'm saying? The only reason I'm watching is because obviously I got to talk to you guys and record what I see, because places like NBC and CBS and ABC, they're not telling you the full story. I encourage everybody, go on YouTube and go to the live feeds. Don't go to it. CNN. They had some people arrested in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Anybody hear about that? You hear about that? Yeah, I did. I reported on my show this morning. 4 of their correspondents got arrested for a riot that was going on, and the state police arrested them because they were obviously in the wrong place where media shouldn't be. Don't listen to them anymore. But the black men and black women who have been previously incarcerated, here is your opportunity to take those jobs from those day workers. Go to Home Depot, because the houses still need to be built. You guys, construction still needs to happen. Get the jobs, because they're getting the other people out of here.
Dre?
Absolutely. And Dr. Nichols, you're totally right. I think part of the things that we need to do in the Black community is continue to educate people about what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think because they don't know someone that it's affecting and it's not affecting them, oh yeah, I don't need these construction jobs, and I don't know any of my friends that need these construction jobs. We're not talking about your needs. We're not talking about your friends' needs. We're talking about the needs of the community, and that there should be a level playing field. And also, when we're talking about the media, which you rightly brought up as not just spreading misinformation, they asked Trump, would he arrest Gavin Newsom? They didn't ask him should he. They didn't ask him did he plan on it. They said would he, right? And they then said that he said he was going to arrest him. That's not what he said. And if you look at the video, it's just they put so much inference on sound bites, but it's not correct. And like, it's so funny because he's just like, he's a terrible governor. That's why he should be arrested. Or his little railroad.
Yeah, because you know what, when the fires came, when this last incident, when LA was on fire, No National Guards were called. And the cities just burned to a crisp.
They did.
And he stood there and did nothing, but acted like he really wanted to do something. But yet the cities and the Black communities took a hard hit situation. And so here he is right now. The Democrats are doing exactly what they tried to do with George Floyd. They tried to create the summer of love by looting, destroying, killing, coming against the federal government. And now they're in a position to where they want to do the same thing. And I just hope and pray that President Trump continue, because Gavin Newsom needs to be arrested because he's aiding and abetting criminals.
Don't arrest him. Do not make him a martyr. That's what he wants.
And that
he wants to be a martyr in this situation.
Yep.
If President Trump arrests him, it'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did this. Guess what? In the 1960s, the president that at that time, even though he did not like Black people, he did call out the National Guard to protect those students going to school.
The Arkansas 8
because
is what it was called.
He didn't coordinate with the governor. He did what needed to be done.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
And this is what President Trump is doing. He's doing what needs to be done. Now he's dispatched everybody all over the country. He's just like, I don't care what you say. I'm going to protect these American people.
Well,
and that's what the American people voted
way.
for. That's what we voted for.
Exactly.
That's right.
And it has to be that way, because if we allow the illegals to take over the country like they're trying to do right now, then the federal government is going to be sacked.
Yeah.
It's going to be sacked, because they will have no power for the American citizens. And I would think, this is why I say, people who watching the show, share it around, but use your common sense. Why would the American people want illegals to come to our country and commit the crimes, kill, rape, get money, and destroy neighborhoods and bring mayhem, all of these things? Why would we want those type of people in our country? Because that's what they're doing. And so I'm offended when I see this woman who can't even speak English. We're not criminals. What the hell are you? You invaded a country.
They've made them believe that because it's a civil infraction, but it's also punishable by jail time. So it is criminal activity. Why would you need to be paroled in the United States? Why would you need TPS if this is not criminal activity? They don't understand what's happening, but the Democrats do.
Right. And I just like to say this, like I mentioned consequences before. In Tallahassee, Florida, they did an ICE raid on a construction site, and there were 100 people that they deported out of the country. Tallahassee, Florida is 35% Black. And I can tell you, after my father got out of the military, he didn't have time to get his bachelor's degree. So they wanted to send him to Japan. He didn't want to go to Japan for another year. He decided to retire. And the retirement, he worked all kinds of odd jobs to make ends meet. And one of them was construction. I remember the construction dust all over from concrete, all over my dad's clothes and his beat up boots. He was the type of worker that would be disciplined, knew how to use his body, and didn't mind going out there using his body to make a living. He worked multiple jobs. And when they decide to let all these illegals in, it really does not give Americans a stepping stone into employment to be able to support themselves and their families.
Yeah.
Well,
you're
you know,
exactly right.
that's one of the things too, that in construction work, they can hire people and pay them a lot less money than they would pay an American citizens. You know, I have worked construction in my life from 19 to 25. And it's a sun up to sundown job. I mean, if you're a laborer, you're digging ditches, you're holding up posters, you're using different types of machines. I mean, it is a job that can make your family rich, but it would really tear you down as a person. And so even in that being said, those jobs still should be given to American citizens
that want them, because it doesn't mean just because they do the job, some of them will do it their entire career, but some of them will use it to go into other industries, go into management. So to say that we don't want those jobs, it's not true.
Right. And I don't think people realize the money that they can make. So I was in a space over the weekend. They are paying $500 to $700 a day cash. Okay. Cash money.
let me
Go
tell
to
you
Home
something.
Depot. That's all I'm saying. That's all
When
I'm
I,
saying, brothers.
when I
Go
worked,
to Home Depot. They will pick you up in $500 to $700 minimum a day in cash is what you can make.
when I worked for construction, Shebogan construction company out of Racine, Wisconsin, they paid me at the time, this was in the 70s, I was making like $35 to $40 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that back then, that was excellent money. And I mean,
Yeah.
I was able to save money for my kids to go to college. I
Right.
mean, the benefits were great. I mean, everything was there so that you can be successful. But the point is this, those type of jobs should be made available to American citizens.
Right. And what about our high school students who are free during the summer? You know,
Yeah.
they can go out and learn how to work
Yeah.
in construction, learn how to build
Mhm.
houses, learn how
Yeah.
to do wiring. You
Yep.
know, like they have the right
Plumbing.
body types to go out there and do it.
Yeah.
And if they don't have the right body type, they'll get it. And we'll have less fat kids in school.
Yep. But you know what? You saying that, I went to Tilden Technical High School at 4747 South Union here in Chicago. And I learned how to weld. I became a state certified at welder, MIG, stick, TIG, all of that. We had shops in the schools that could prepare us for laborers' job when we came out, or we could work in factories. We knew how to run machinery just coming out of high school in 1974. So that allowed us to have good incomes to take care of our families. And that's why you saw the big boom in the Black community in the 70s, was because all those jobs were available to Black citizens.
Right.
Black
And then some of
contractors were getting contracts, building the Black community and hiring Black men to do those jobs. When I was coming up, you didn't see whites in the Black community. You didn't see Hispanics, but you saw Black people working those jobs, and the community was fine because they reinvested. And now that the Black dollar is up for grabs, I want to say it like that.
Absolutely. And I think some of these day labor companies that are bringing people in to work for the day, maybe they should just pull up to a high school, do a table, talk to the school administration and say, hey, we have this many jobs for high school students that are available to work during the summer. It's day jobs. This is the pay. Here are the conditions. We'll teach them what they need to know. We'll take them out and have them shadow us and see if a lot of them want to do it over and over and over again through the summer. You know,
Yeah, and even if they don't, I need some of these Black mom and daddies, get your son, daughter up off the couch and take them to Home Depot.
And why are we not giving them opportunities to bless these parents who are working multiple jobs and not having to worry about their high schooler at home doing either nothing or getting into some kind of trouble? This will be a blessing to so many families.
It is a blessing. Take them.
It is a
Don't
blessing.
wait. Take them.
But think about this, guys. Okay.
Tomorrow.
You got a bunch of lazy bums sitting around the house playing video games that doesn't have any skills.
Take them.
Now you said something that was important. When I came out of high school in 1974, you could get a job just like this because the companies were willing to train you to do the job that they needed you for.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have any experience and you went to a construction site and you wanted to be a laborer, they trained you. They took you and say, well, this is how you use this machine. This is how you use this. And that's what companies did. And that's why a lot of young people were able to get skills.
They're still doing it because all those other people couldn't speak English at all. Y'all can speak English. Go tomorrow. Get them up. 5 a.m. Get them up.
To do some cool things like use a jackhammer, learn how to use some of these construction machines, learn how to do wiring instead of watching other people do it on YouTube.
Exactly. But you know, the mindset that they gave our children is that, man, I ain't working like that. I ain't working hard like that, man. Shoot, man, that's slave labor. But you'll lay around in slave labor on the video game all day long. You'll eat up a bunch of crap at the house. You won't bring nothing in but problems and talk crap, man. Believe me, it needs to be a checkup from the neck up, especially in the Black community, because our young people, they are so uneducated, they can't even count change, man.
It can be done now.
And this could kind of reinvigorate some of these students that are not doing so well in school to take a little bit more time to work a little bit harder because they'll say, hey, I might not like construction like this. I don't want to be in this situation where this is what
Exactly.
I have to do all the
Right.
time. You know,
Yeah,
let them
take
get a
'em.
taste of real life. Go ahead.
Well,
Like I said, take 'em.
this was the
Get 'em
real
up.
life. This is the
Give
real
'em
life
a
situation when I
pound
came
cake.
out of school. It's
Get 'em up.
either
Take
you were
'em
gonna
Home
go to
Depot.
college. This is what I faced. You were
Mhm.
gonna go to college. If you didn't go to college, you were gonna get a job. If you didn't get a job, you were going to the armed forces.
Right.
That was it.
Those
That
were the
was
three
it.
options.
Nothing else.
And you had to take one because parents were not going to let you sit around all day in their house, a well-able-bodied child, and do nothing but play video games and then get an attitude when you tell them to stop.
Right. And then this could open up some other jobs because like
Mhm.
some of these kids could be smart and become recruiters and be like, hey, I know this guy that's willing to do this work. Here's his name, here's his phone number. Every person I bring in, you know, maybe I'll get $10 or $15. And that's like something
Exactly.
that you can do really.
Exactly.
But you
There's
know
the
what? You know
yeah.
what the thing of it is, guys, is that because the federal government under the Democratic leadership destroyed our educational system, especially in the early years, you know,
Yeah.
like from 3rd grade on, that's when a child really is very susceptible to learning. And so
Yes.
if you kill a 3rd grader's IQ, he will struggle the rest of the way to high school and possibly drop out because he's so far behind and
Yes.
doesn't have the basic understanding of learning.
Yep.
Right.
The silent war. It's a silent war against our community specifically. Okay.
Yep.
I'm glad I didn't give up, but I graduated with a 5th grade education in reading. Luckily, it was caught in college and I could get caught up. But they're graduating children that don't even have a 3rd grade level reading level, and they're graduating from high school.
Well,
That's
there's no
scary.
responsibility. There's no responsibility like it was when we were coming up. See, when I was coming up, you'll be just like Jethro Bodine. If you don't know who that is, he played on the Beverly Hills Billies, and he had a 3rd grade education.
Is it? That's it.
And you would be 25 years old, still in the 3rd grade, if you didn't learn the level to go to the next grade. And
Yeah.
so you're talking about learning levels have been removed, and responsible children have not learning the grade level, and they're just being pushed through. You know, it was a football player named Dexter Manley. You guys remember him? He played for the Washington Redskins.
Yeah. I remember Dexter.
Dexter Manley was a college graduated, but he could not even read or write.
Because he had somebody else doing his homework for him. Well,
He couldn't read or write, but yet he held a position in a company as a CEO and got paid, and it came out that he couldn't read or write, and it shows that the system have failed. The system is failing the Black community. Let me take that back. The Black community is failing the Black community because the Black leadership is not holding anybody accountable to make sure that our children learn something so they can be good productive citizens, guys.
Right.
And that's the problem.
very
Right.
true. Very
Now,
true.
you know, being good physically and being good at sports, that's a different type of intelligence. People value that intelligence a lot more than intellectual intelligence, emotional intelligence. And what's happening is we're not teaching people to be average across the board. You know, like how about we be average across the board in the different types of intelligence and maybe be pointy in one or two areas. But that's not what's being taught. We're allowing people to go through not being able to read that are very still smart individuals because he was able to run his company. He just was never pushed to read or write because everyone was doing his homework for him. He was just like, I can have someone do this for me. And that's a different type of intelligence because he had the ability to administrate. You know, he was like, hey, I can have you do this for me. And
But
that's
you just
why he's
can't
the
read.
CEO. But like, well, we have to, but everybody's not going to have that. And we have to put the onus on education first, be good across the board. And, you know, we'll see what you can do in life.
My concern to the Black community, we should really be up in arms because everything happens in our community that's bad.
Right.
I cannot name one good thing that have helped the Black community get back on its feet.
No, everybody just siphons off of us. I mean, they allowed every illegal person who crossed the border to siphon off of us, because all of the resources that were set aside for us, they gave it to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard people say, well, your reparations was given, but it was given to all the illegals. I'm like, wow, you're not wrong about that. But we didn't know how to be up in arms about that. Even when they were coming over, people were still like, well, I guess they need a chance. No, no, they need to go home. That's their chance. Go back to where you came from.
What is it about the word illegal that make people think that it's okay to be illegal? That word is self-explanatory, because if you're here not legally, you're illegally, you are breaking the law of the country.
Right.
But
Well, they put everybody in this
them.
category. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They let them. They let them come over here. They coddled them. They said, oh, it's okay if you come over here and break the law. We're not going to count it. We're just going to, take your fingerprints, mill you through, and we're just going to let you back out on the street because there's no processing for you because you're not a citizen. That's how they were able to do it. But we'll call you a resident so that you can actually get resources. Okay? See how that works?
Go ahead, Dre.
Absolutely. And you're spot on. And another reason is exactly what Maxine Waters said. She said in an interview, a lot of people, they're just fleeing persecution. They're not criminals, they're all just fleeing persecution. But I have a question as an American. What does that have to do with me?
That part.
What does that have to do with my community? We have a refugee process, and the lines are getting longer for that because people that are coming in illegally are pushing those people to the back that are waiting legally.
Yes.
If we're going to do this, right, why don't we deport those people, and then some of the people that have been waiting in line, allow them to come in since they're doing it the right way?
Yes.
Like, why don't we do that instead of coddling these illegal aliens that are trying to come in under the table?
Well, and I keep saying to the Black community, this is a wake-up call for us, because we're at the last stanza. Black people, we're on our last legs, because if we allow the illegals to stay here, they're taking the Black community, they're taking the Black dollars, and they got some kind of nerve. They calling Black people out. Black people, you should help us.
Nope.
Why should we help you take our jobs?
No,
Why
we're
should
eating
we help
popcorn.
you commit crimes in our community? Why should we help you do child trafficking? Why should we help you bring fentanyl, and it lands mostly in the Black community?
That's right.
But you know why they do that? It's because Black people done got beat down so bad by the establishment to say, well, you know what? They are here now, so we might as well just let them stay here.
Nope. Kick them out.
Absolutely.
They took
ICE
took a whole family out.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
A whole family. They detained the whole family and deported them. I'm down with that.
And
Do
it's
it
true.
some more. Do it some more. I'm down.
Because if you're here illegally, and see, that's why they wanted to get rid of the anchor baby stuff with the 14th Amendment that was made for Black people to be naturalized citizens. They took it and said, well, if you're a Mexican or whatever, you for somewhere else, if you have a baby on the soil, you can stay here.
Yep.
That's not what the 14th Amendment was about at all. And it has been the Democrats who have continued to break the law, who have continued to bend the laws, and it's affecting Black people. There should not be one Black person in this country, after what we've seen in the last 50 to 60 years, the hatred for us, the hatred for our children, building jails to house us. When Joe Biden said, I don't want my kids going to school with niggers, and then Black people voted him to be the president. What kind of mindset? That's the reason why they treat us like this, is because we do asinine things, like put a president that's a racist like Joe Biden, who ran the Ku Klux Klan. Because we don't research, and we allowed them to do these things to us. Now everybody feel like, man, please. First thing they want to do, let's go to America. Where y'all want to go? Go to the Black community. And that's why we are in this condition. Now the Black leadership continues to allow these things to happen in our schools, to our children, the jails. Man, black people have been a commodity. In the 70s and 80s, black people became commodities. They started building prisons everywhere. Bill Clinton made the prisons privatized so other Americans could invest into the prison system. And guess who the commodity was? It was blacks in the black community. Your thoughts, guys?
Go ahead, Dre.
Okay. Well, in 1986, that's when we had all the amnesties.
Mhm.
And we amnestied around 3 million people. Well, since then, this amnesty bill was supposed to secure the border. It was supposed to focus on deportation and build ways to keep people out of the country illegally. Well, it's failed like 12 million times. And, you know, we have like 12 to 15 million people here illegally. It might be more because there are gotaways that we don't know about. But what I want to say to the black community is there are consequences to being good-hearted and letting everybody in. We don't have the resources to let everybody in. And just because you're not affected now directly doesn't mean that other parts of the community are not affected. We have to protect our neighborhoods. We have to protect our businesses. We need to protect our economic interests. And the only way that we can do that is through legislation.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that definitely needs to happen, we need to press the Trump administration to put a moratorium on our borders.
Yes.
Nobody gets in. And I'm talking about HB1 visas, especially HB1s, because they can bring in other people that don't have to be vetted, period. Their family members. Shut it all down. The border, when I mean it shut down, I'm not talking about, oh, we're just not letting people in physically. I'm talking about no processing, nothing. We've done it in our nation's history twice. We shut down the border. Nobody comes in, but everybody's leaving. Okay, this is not going to be like the Roach Motel where nobody goes home. No, you're going home. Right. You're going home, but we got to shut down the door so we can kick you out of here. And nobody else is coming in. But that's what we really have to do. And we need to press the administration, because the one thing I do respect about Donald Trump is he listens to us. He hears us. So if we need to do an all flat out social media campaign, shut it down, that's what I'm talking about. We need to tell him, you want this to stop? Shut it down. Nobody gets in. I don't care where your paperwork is. I don't care where the processing is. If you just got here yesterday and you were like, yeah, I'm here legally, then you just made the cut.
Right. And we should shut it down until Congress comes up with a long-term legislative bill. E-Verify, big, beautiful bill, long-term legislative bill, HR2. We need something, and we'll keep it closed until they do it.
Well, you know, this is. I want to remind the American people about something that happened with the border. See, when President Trump was in office before, he created Title 42, and that was shutting the borders down. And people who came here were fingerprinted, and they were given some type of paperwork so that we could track them. They didn't run to the borders then. They didn't do it. But to the American people and patriots across this country, how do you think Title 42 ended? It was the Democrats, after Joe Biden got into office, who took him to court to remove the Title 42, which was keeping illegals out of here. Man, we cannot.
Well, I think we had the COVID powers then. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
And without the COVID powers, the Democrats would come in and end it.
Yeah. I just want to shut it down.
And this is the other problem. Like, you know, Trump shuts down the border. We happen to get a Democrat or a rhino that comes into office, and then they reverse everything he does. Like, legislation is the most important thing. Shut it down. Make Congress work.
Well, I'm gonna play another clip, guys, about this riot in LA, and we're gonna talk about it.
Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who's a Democrat, has sued President Trump over his deployment of the National Guard in Los Angeles against his wishes. He's accused Mr. Trump of seeking to manufacture a crisis. Rioting was sparked after the Trump administration sent immigration agents to detain unauthorized migrants in the city. President Trump says the move was necessary for law and order, and that without it, LA would have been completely obliterated. Our correspondent John Sudworth is there. John.
Well, things are a little calmer, at least so far today. You can see the protesters here, I'd say no more than 100 or so, gathered outside this detention centre where some of the immigrants detained in those workplace raids.
Hold up, guys. Look back there in the background. Can you see all that Venezuela stuff? Can you see the Venezuelan
Oh yeah,
flag?
they are dressed up in the Mexican hats and everything. You don't want to be here in this country, and I'm cool with it, but you need to go home.
Yeah.
Who you representing?
But how brazen is that? They feel so brazen and so comfortable.
They've been emboldened to do it.
They know how to work the system. That's like, this is the way the system works. We've been here all this time. If we stand our ground, they're not going to make us leave.
No.
Well, we're going to see about that.
Are being held. And on this side, you can see the LAPD. Their numbers have been boosted today by reinforcements brought in from outside Los Angeles County. But the most contentious part of this picture is a little bit further over there. You can see the members of the National Guard stood by. And although things may be quieter here, they, of course, are at the centre of an escalating political storm between the president of this country and the governor of this state.
There's now a huge police presence in this city, with reinforcements brought in as the authorities try desperately to contain the violence. Overnight, once again, protesters threw fireworks and the police responded with force, making a number of arrests. But an already tense situation triggered by the workplace raids and arrests of undocumented immigrants now has a complex political dimension.
Yeah, they're throwing rocks at
The
them.
National Guard, a reservist military force, is often used to respond to natural disasters and is normally called in by state governors. Not this time. For the first time in 60 years, a US president has ordered them in, while members of his administration warn that anyone who gets in the way, even senior politicians, face arrest.
Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy.
It's a threat that's been met with a furious response from California's governor, speaking to MSNBC.
The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me.
Then this from President Trump. Asked if the governor should be arrested, I would, he replied.
He's an incompetent governor. Look at the job he's doing in California. He's destroying one of our great states. And if I didn't get involved, if we didn't bring the Guard in, and we would bring more in if we needed it, because we have to make sure there's going to be law and order. You had a disaster happening.
Well,
He never said I would.
Downtown
No, he
LA.
didn't. He
Never
put that
said
in there.
that.
Never said that. They said that.
They
Right.
said it. He didn't.
And to the American people and patriots across this country, they hate Trump so bad that they are trying to make the world think that Trump is doing something wrong when he is standing up for the American citizens and protecting our interests and our country.
Right.
You see all these people, man. Why don't you just go to hell home? Why don't you go to back where you came from and raise hell there? Because the government that you left is not going to tolerate that crap. And these weak-kneed Democrats and politicians who continue to side with illegals, they're siding with them against the American people. The American people needs to vote out all of these governors, all of these mayors like Wu, Brandon Johnson, Pritzker. They should be thrown in jail. If that was me, if I was Trump, I would throw their asses in jail. I don't care about making them a martyr. I will give you some time for breaking the law. And that's what the sheriffs should be doing. They should be arresting these governors because sheriffs are sworn to the Constitution to protect the interests of the American people and the Constitution. Let's play a little bit more of this.
We are littered with the debris of last night's trouble. If you just, anywhere you look, you pick them up, you've got the hundreds and hundreds of these baton rounds, rubber bullets, the canisters from which they've been fired, and also rocks, which we've seen protesters sometimes throwing at the police. It's quiet at the moment, but these officers have been drafted in from neighbouring police forces as this city braces for more trouble today.
Yeah.
One sign of just how dangerous things have become. This reporter from the Australian Channel 9 News was hit by a rubber bullet live on air.
Get out the way.
This city now finds itself at the centre of an
You trying to
escalating
get Bush
political
out
fight
the way.
between a president and a governor. In response to Mr. Trump's comments about his arrest, Gavin Newsom said this was a day he hoped he'd never see in America.
In many ways, some of the biggest constitutional issues of our day are now being played out on the streets of Los Angeles. Questions over the limits of presidential power against the extent of state rights. The authorities here know that those scenes of violence are playing into the president's narrative. That's why they believe he's deployed the National Guard for those public imaging effects. And it's also why we are hearing leaders in this city time and time again appealing for the protesters to show restraint and protest peacefully. Rita.
They're not. When I say they defaced the entire city hall, it says F ICE, F the police, America with the KKK. When I say defaced people, they were defacing cars. They were defacing buildings across the street. Look, they are out of control and they are demanding to stay here, demanding to have the money, and demanding the right to tear everything up. It's crazy.
I don't understand it. How could you be an illegal and break the law and be here and make demands? The only demand that you should make is that get the foot off my neck after I arrested you and throw you in jail. That's the demand that should be
You know
made.
what? Because the Democrats told them they have due process.
They
See, the
don't have
Democrats
due
told
process.
them that they'd have birthright citizenship. See, the Democrats told them if you step your foot on this soil, you have every right that a citizen has. That's the problem. The messaging.
Yeah.
They have no respect for our country because they've been told they don't have to respect our country. This is why we have immigration laws. This is why we have naturalization, which is in the Constitution, by the way. I would give it a read. The states cannot unilaterally make immigration laws, which is what California has done. They unilaterally said, if you come here, we will protect you. Our Constitution says everything the opposite.
Great.
That is a great assessment. And you're right. That's what has happened. And this is why people have gotten so upset. I was talking to my colleague this morning, and I was talking about the ICE doing the raids, and she joked that they shouldn't have been there because they're a sanctuary city. And that's the reason they have the rapid response. That's the reason they're pushing back so hard. But in their minds, they have their own state laws that they put together that are independent of what Congress has said that they should do. And they're not enforcing the federal laws. They're just trying to go about their own ways. And another thing that they're doing, they're being deceptive in the fact that they're saying that the National Guard is outside of their county or the city. A lot of these guys are within the state. They are aware of the laws that there are there. They probably know people that are involved in these conflicts. It's not people from DC. They're trying to demonize DC, but it is really they're state and local guys, that are out there, men and women that are out there as part of this National Guard team.
Yeah, they're reservists. And they are there serving on behalf of the military as the National Guard. See, they're like a step above the sheriff and the police, right? But they're like the nicer guys of the military. Like they're not going to attack you and take you down. A Marine is not going to ask questions. Okay, don't act crazy.
But see, the president has to give them that authority because right now the Marines are there to protect the buildings and the federal infrastructure there. But if they don't, the government will only put the Marines out or the National Guard out on people if things actually get way out of control, crazy, like beyond the point of return, because they don't want our military hurting citizens.
To know is that the National Guard, they're just backing up the police and the sheriff department. The police and the sheriffs, if people are getting hit with rubber bullets, it's actually the police. It's actually the sheriffs. It's not the National Guard. The National Guard is just there for security for them.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Infrastructure.
My question to Black America and to all the families who have young men who are locked up, put in jail, who have been political prisoners like Larry Hoover, all these guys that been in contact with me who've been locked up for ghost dope. You don't see the Democratic Party. You don't see a Barack Obama. You don't see a Hillary Clinton. You don't see leaders like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. You do not see the Black Caucus going to the jails like we saw the Democrats going over to Venezuela to get a criminal out of jail.
Right. And
Who's still back here?
Bree goes back.
We got Black men and women, Hispanic men and women locked up who shouldn't be in jail, and you don't see not one of the politicians going saying, well, you know what, I'm gonna go to the jail and we're gonna protest in front of the jail because we got all these Black men locked up on charges, felonious charges, but you don't see it. And that's what I'm trying to awaken the American people to see. What President Trump is doing is what's best for the country. We have to really pay close attention because the Democrats are demonizing him. They're saying it's Trump's fault. Trump this, Trump that, Trump this. They're using the same tactic that they used the first time when they stole the election in 2020. You got Black people running around here hating. Well, I hate the orange Cheeto head guy, but he doubled your food stamps and you out in front of a store trying to sell the stamps. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's the ignorance of the Black community who would support the Democrats, who would support illegals being here. You see them Black people out there? They shouldn't be out there. Why aren't they at the jails and the prisons saying release our men and women? Why aren't they at the schools saying, well, you know what?
There's not that many Black people out there. And the ones that are out there are anti-protesting, just by the way.
It should be no Black people out
there. I know some boots on the ground out there that have come and asked and were like, we are telling them they need to go home.
They need to go home.
But we're not out there in mass. I just want to say that. Now, there are dark-skinned Latinos. You got to remember people from the Dominican Republic and people from South America. Some of them, they kind of look like us, but they're not us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it should not be one Black person out there, because if you're out there protesting to keep illegals in the United States and you won't protest to bring economic development to your own community,
right?
You're not fighting for Black contractors to get contracts to hire Black children. The Democrats and the Black community is not fighting so that our children can be educated and they can count instead of they're graduating illiterates.
Yeah.
So the Black community needs to be up in arms. I mean, right now saying, we will not tolerate this. You are not going to come to the Black community. You're not going to keep using us. You're not going to. They built the jails for Black people.
Yeah.
And when is the Black community going to get upset about Larisha Thompson, who was killed by the 6 immigrants? When is Jesse Jackson and all the other ones going to come out for that?
They're not, because those were illegals. Come on, those were their prized possessions that unfortunately took this young woman's life. And you know what? It happened in South Carolina. Now, let's be real. South Carolina has one Democrat that sits in the House out of all of their districts. They do not have a Democratic senator. They got 2 Republican senators, Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott. What's going on in your states, guys?
Exactly.
Are y'all a sanctuary state? Apparently, the sheriff, this is the sanctuary sheriff, letting these people back out on the streets. What are y'all doing, Republicans? Because this is your state. Apparently, I lay this at their feet. Just saying. Just saying. Are you there, Pastor? You're kind of frozen.
Oh, yeah, he's frozen.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute. He's frozen. I'm talking. Usually he'll interject. But yeah, I mean, do you agree, Dre?
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And there are activists, boots on the ground. They're really upset about how things are being given to illegal immigrants, and that the needs of Black Americans are not being considered. We see that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I my heart goes out to her. I haven't talked about her unfortunate passing for a little bit over a week, but I definitely spent some time on it on my show, and really trying to shine a light on it, because to your point, the usual suspects did not show up. Like, where are y'all at?
Exactly.
BLM and, Al Sharpton. Was it the gentleman's name he's the
Black
attorney,
Caucus.
Ben Crump?
Yeah,
Where are you guys? You're not
nowhere to be
there.
found.
No,
Nowhere
you're
to be
not there because you're protecting these illegals, and you can't have the rift, right? You cannot have Black people not supporting these illegals.
That's right.
Because you brought them here and you wanted to use Black people to protect them so that they could, then become the voting bloc, right?
Exactly.
That's the goal in a lot of these areas. And I don't think people are realizing that the more people that these House members have in their surrounding districts, it creates more representation, which means they're
And
going to
we're
have to
already
add
there.
House seats.
Yeah, we are already there because the Hispanic population is so much bigger than the Black American population. And that has been within the last decade that has happened. So they're going to have more representative power. They're going to have more legislative power. But a lot of people are blaming Donald Trump for what's happening with our immigration process. But this is what Americans voted for. And a lot of Hispanics voted for more
They
deportation.
sure did. They
And
sure
all-
did.
Yeah, and all the highest point of polling for President Trump.
Yeah.
The American people trust him to do this.
Yeah, they don't want. I want to say the Hispanic population that is here legally. I've even heard in the different videos on X where they're like, no, there are certain Latino countries we don't mess with them.
Right.
They are not us. You know what I'm saying? Just like how Black people have delineated. We're like, we're not African, we're not Caribbean, we're not Jamaican, and it's the same thing. Because a lot of times people, well, they're all just Latin. No, they're not. And they are all not designed the same. I grew up with people from Mexico that did.
Y'all kept going.
migrate. Oh, yeah, of course we kept going.
we
You
did.
froze, we kept going. But, what's going to happen with these certain demographics is those are the ones that are going to get targeted for deportation, as they should be. Because they are the ones that are coming over here demanding to stay here. And just because somebody's waving a flag from Mexico doesn't mean they're from Mexico. Because I know people from Mexico.
Well,
they wouldn't be
guys,
doing this right now.
a lot of
Because
it's
that's not their
Antifa.
mindset.
That's right.
A lot of it is Antifa. Black Lives Matter has.
They did a Craigslist post. They are paying these people $6,500 to $1,200, $500 a week on Craigslist to be provocateurs. For real. I'm for real. It's a real thing.
We got a thunderstorm here, and it just knocked out the power guy. So that's what happened. But and I'm going crazy, like, oh no, it's a great show. I keep going.
But we kept going. We kept going.
Yeah, we did.
I'm glad because the simple fact of this, and Black Americans should be totally upset because of the fact that we've entrusted the Democrats, and they have really destroyed our community. And now here we are. They're defending illegals. They're not fighting for black citizens. Their whole mode is we're going to eliminate the Black community. People like Maxine Waters, who've been talking about the other day, well, we might as well make them all citizens that they here now. That's totally absurd.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
So what about taking care of the people here? And that's why I say it's time that all Americans who are American citizens need to band together. We need whites, blacks, we need all of us to be one America again and come against this system that the Democrats are steady proposing to take jobs, to bring illegals in, to keep the borders open to the American people and patriots across this country. Now, I want to say this, and I'm going to say it unequivocally. What the hell happened on January 6th? Why haven't the Democratic Party come after these illegals for breaking the law, who are rioting, who are looting, who are shooting? Why haven't the Democratic Party came up with due process to throw them in jail like they did the citizens in the United States that went to jail on January 6th? Your thoughts on
They
that,
say
guys?
January 6th was worse than that, and that's all they have. That is all they have. They keep throwing it. They're like, oh, it's not an insurrection like January 6th. Well, this happened on January 6th and President Trump pardoned them. So are we going to pardon the rest of these people? Here's my thing. I'm not comparing these people to January 6th. This is a complete invasion. This is something on a totally different level. This is treason. You have actually given these people aid and comfort, and that's in the Constitution. I want all of y'all thrown into prison. Every single one of you, Democrat and Republican. I'm coming for you. You don't even understand my game. You don't understand. I'm getting people ready to take your place in Congress right now.
Yes, and that's what I'm advising the Black community to do. We have to get rid of the leadership. The Black current leadership is not conducive to the Black community, and it's not loyal to the Black community.
Nope.
We have Black leaders now who don't even think that they're Black. You know, we got a lot of the Boule, the Greeks and all that running the country. They're in the Black community getting paid. They're in the schools. They're sitting around getting paid 5 and 6 figure salaries, and they teaching the kids nothing. They all should be held on treason. They should be thrown out of office. If you're not producing to help the constituents who elected you, then you do not need to be in that position. And the only way the Black community is going to rise up out of the ashes now is we have to get rid of the current day leadership that does not value Blackness, that does not value the Black community, but has sold the Black community out to illegals, and they're getting money under the table like Brandon Johnson and all the state reps, the attorney general, Quasi, whatever his name is here in Chicago. They're all part of the problem, and that's why we see the downturn in the Black communities across the country, is because the leadership in the Black community doesn't love the Black community, but hate it and continue to open doors for everybody else to come to the Black community and destroy our communities.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, and that's
the
play.
Yep.
And so
go ahead, Dre.
Go ahead, Dre.
I think we need to stop selling out to the diaspora and start working out our own Americanness, because we have so many people that are invested in the diaspora, bringing all that diaspora money. It's going to a select few while our communities continue to be destroyed. We need to get our minds off the diaspora and focus on what makes us Americans. And we have this great country, and we need to focus on what we need to do to make our American freedmen, our Black American people, our white American people, our Mexican American people live together so that we can push this country's initiatives forward. And if we're not doing that, then we're not doing anything. Go ahead, Dr.
Absolutely. You know, to your point, it's like the reason why people get our resources is because even though they look like us, right? But then there are people on the other side that get sympathetic to that. I mean, I've literally seen grants for women specifically from Guyana.
Yeah.
I'm an American Black woman. I can't apply for it because it's for somebody from another country, but you're using my tax dollars. Are you insane? That's where that needs to stop immediately. Are you for real? I can't get it. But then you want to come back to me and treat, companies like FAIR that are trying to, get a come up for Black women and say, well, you're being racist because you're excluding other people. Are you for real? But this is happening. I don't live in two worlds. I am not an insane person. This is going to stop because somebody's allowing this. Now it's above my pay grade, whoever's allowing it, but I definitely am like, no more. We need to stop this.
This is a serious wake-up call to the American people and patriots across this country. And I'm talking about all Americans, all of us who were born in this country, who came to this country legally, who are true American citizens. We should be banding together right now, and we should be creating our militias and everything else to protect our community. See, that's what they wanted to do during the COVID. They wanted to destroy the militias in this country so that they could bring the illegals over here and do what they want to do to the American citizens.
Yep.
So I urge the American citizens to form militias, form different groups to protect our interests and to protect our families in this country. Because if they disarm us, just take a look at what's happening. They came, Joe Biden and Barack Obama and them with the transgenders, they came after our guns. They came after our children. They took our economy and turned it upside down, man. Their whole mission was to break this country down and create a socialist country where there's one leader or a set of people that running it. We need to hold these people accountable. These are treasonous acts, and especially in the Black community. Brandon Johnson, Galvin Newton, J.B. Pritzker, Mayor Wu in Boston, all of them should be held on treason for opening their doors and aiding, abetting criminals with criminal activity. They should be tried. And I'm telling you, for treason, the ultimate is to die by a firing squad if you are found guilty. And I guarantee you, if these mayors and governors of these sanctuary states was tried for treason, it'll be a lot of bullets flying around. I can guarantee you that. Folks, we got to get out of here. Last words, we're going to get on up out of here.
Yeah, I want to say that Maxine Waters, she was crying out for, she was saying that Trump wants martial law. Whenever somebody says that somebody else wants something, they're deflecting. They want martial law. You know why? Because we would have to be disarmed.
Yes.
It is not the solution we want, because it will be worse than the problem it is trying to solve. President Trump is in the way of them trying to take us down. He realizes we do have the power as the people, but he's in the way of these people trying to destroy our country. So I just, I want to encourage everybody, just keep your wits about you and demand that our borders not only be physically closed, but administratively closed as well.
Well, go ahead, Dre.
So, Pastor Larry, I'm not exactly where you are on putting like the mayors and them on the firing squad, but I do think that there are ways to recall them, and if there are not legislative ways to recall mayors or governors that have low approval ratings, we need to establish those, because like in Chicago, there have been many efforts to recall, but they have written in their state constitution or city laws, making it almost impossible to do so. So we need to change that so that these positions that are public service positions that are a privilege to serve in are monitored, and they're based on performance. So if they don't perform, they can't just do whatever agenda that they want to do. The people have the right to push back and recall them. But if we don't have a mechanism to recall, this is a problem.
Well, I want to send a shout out to Mr. Dan Bolin, who has set a petition up to recall Brandon Johnson. There will be a something on coming up in 2026 that we're going to put for the mayor's run to have Brandon Johnson removed because he's incompetent.
Right. But we're talking about 26.
How much damage?
23, 24, and it's terrible. Like it should be more immediate than that. So these are laws that we need the people to get involved with and change it so that it doesn't take another year or 2 years to do it. So that's my thing.
But you know what? This is the sad thing about it, is that we got this opportunity to get Brandon Johnson out, and there has been legislation that have been put before the state Senate and the representatives, but it was a joke because the guy that put it forth did not get the community behind him. LaShawn Ford, he never ever got the community involved to come down to Springfield to get the legislation passed so that we can get these people out who are non-performing.
Right.
And so, what is it, Brandon? Why does Brandon Johnson care? He's still getting a $6 salary. Yeah. He's still stealing money from the migrants, and he's probably the worst mayor of all time, but he don't give a crap because they can't put him out. So he's going to do as much as damage as he can to the city of Chicago in the next 2 years. The city might not even be around anymore. It might not be a city in Chicago for me to govern when I become the mayor, okay? I mean, if we got to continue down this road with them allowing the illegals to come in and giving them money and taking taxpayer dollars and doing this, this is a real problem, and I think the American people, especially Black Americans, should be up in arms, and we need to stand together and fight for our community right now, because if Black people do not survive this last stand, if Black people, if we allow them to continue to open the door for illegals, the Black community is going to be completely decimated, and there will be no more Black community if we allow the people like Brandon Johnson, J.B. Pritzker, Wu, and all the rest of these mayors to keep bringing illegals in, because that was the whole mission, Black people, to replace you and use you and control your dollars. Y'all last thoughts. We got to get out of here before the rain come and knock me off again.
Okay. I just want to thank everybody for, being here on the live and definitely joining us in this conversation, because it is a very serious conversation. I know we've kind of laughed through some of it, but it's very serious. Gavin Newsom, he wants to be a martyr in California. And so the one thing that President Trump is not going to do, he's not going to arrest them to put all the focus on him. He's going to do what he can do to protect the American citizens. Trust me, the Marines that are there, thank you for being there from Camp Pendleton. I know exactly where you are up from. You're a couple hours away from home, but I'm praying for you and your families, especially the sheriffs and the other sheriffs from the neighboring cities, the police officers, the women and men that are serving in the National Guard, praying for your protection as well. And any and all Angelinos that can hear me in the sound of my voice, go home.
Go home.
Go home, because you know what? I know the legal ones of you are not out there. The ones that are legally here, you're not out there. It's the disruptors that are. So we're just praying for everybody's safety and just praying that they all go home.
Yeah, Dre.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of that. I'm praying that this situation is resolved and that we create a mechanism to really protect ICE, who's just trying to do their job. There shouldn't be a rapid response harassment system for these ICE agents that are trying to do what the American people voted on. And it shouldn't be up to Californians to decide whether that is right or wrong.
Exactly.
I'd also like to pressure people to continue to put pressure on Congress, because the president can't change the immigration laws for a permanent period of time. It can be a short period of time and the courts can push back. But if Congress is forced to come up with some policy, then we'll be in a place where Americans can get involved, elected officials can get involved, and we can have long-term legislation that helps people on both sides of the border.
Guys, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. Like I said, it's storming like crazy here. And we're going to go on and get up out of here. If you guys want to do another show this week, let's get together, because we need to keep people informed about what we're doing. Doc, I did get we got approved for the Android system and all of that. I got that. So we're pretty much complete now, folks. If you want to go and watch some of our shows, you can go to our Roku channel.
Uh-oh, he froze again. Okay, so that means we've kind of got to stay here till he drops and comes back. We weren't trying to make this too long. But yes, if you guys do get a chance, I'm actually live on X from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday Eastern, and also on YouTube and Facebook. So that's where my show airs live on Unfiltered Vision News. So I don't want to drop until he comes back. But like I said, I know he's frozen. You poor thing. Oh no. Let me give him a text here, because he may not know he's frozen. You know how it's kind of weird, like it's moving for you, but it's not moving for everybody else, and you think, okay, I'm kind of stuck, but not stuck. Okay, there he is. He's got it.
Okay.
He's got it. He'll bring us back in. Okay. But guys, thank you so much for just joining us and hanging in here with us. I know right now it's difficult, but President Trump is doing all that he can to help the American public. Everything you see going on in Los Angeles right now, it will get better. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. But like I said, they do have all of the assistance that they can glean from the surrounding areas. There's 10 million people just in the metropolitan area.
Right.
That's a lot.
And we have to cut off their supply line. because the agitators are getting supplies, they're getting the firecrackers, they're getting the concrete blocks, they're getting water, they're getting all kinds of things to aid. They're getting gloves, they're getting masks, they're getting all kinds of things to aid their disruption.
Yeah,
Now
because
that the guard is
fireworks.
there,
Yeah, because I want to say fireworks in California are actually illegal because they cause fires. So they don't even really sell fireworks in certain parts of California. They'll have shows, but they don't. You know how like in Georgia here we have them and they'll sell them like a few days before, but you can buy them. You can't even have them in certain areas of California. It's a misdemeanor.
Wow.
Yeah. It's serious. But what were you gonna say? Sorry.
You're fine. And now that the National Guard is there, we have a line of defense to make sure and monitor what's coming in and what's coming out between on both sides. So I'm hoping that this gets quelled before the end of the week.
Absolutely. I think it will. The rhetoric, I'm really surprised at the rhetoric that Newsom is saying because, I mean, this whole, well, just arrest me, tough guy. It's like, bro, your state's on fire. You're like literally you're a failed state. Literally. You need to at some point say, you know what? We are going to get with Donald Trump because we want to de-escalate this situation. But it's almost like they want to try to stand up to him so hard it's to a fault and they don't care who gets caught in the fodder. You know, you don't want leadership like that. That's not leadership. It really, really isn't.
It's not leadership. And it's a about face from where he was last week, where he said that he would comply with ICE and other people. But now we've just gotten to a point where they just are like, okay, we think we're going to come out looking good with this protest and we're going to take it to the max.
Well, I'm glad y'all kept going, man. The storm keep knocking me out.
Okay, we're gonna go now.
We're gonna go.
But I want to thank everybody for watching the show. I want to thank you guys for continue on. Go to our channel, Let the Truth Be Told, Roku. We got everything. We're about to make our lunch. So y'all can find us there. Dre, your last words?
Put pressure on your congressman. Check out numbersusa.com. We have plenty of information about immigration and what's actually happened. No spin. Get all the information you need.
Better hurry up.
Okay. Definitely. Unfiltered Vision News, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, live on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Bye.
You guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in to the show. I'm going to get out of here. The storm is knocking us in. Thank you for tuning in. These are my last words. To the American people and patriots across this country, we must support President Trump. We need to get all the illegals out of here. The key word is illegal, so that we can make this country great again. God bless you, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.